In 1874, the world was introduced to stop-motion, film, and documentary for the first time. This film is entitled Passage de Vénus and goes as follows. Jules Janssen recorded the actual transit of Venus across the Sun, but this surviving footage is believed by experts to be from a test he made using models. It's a series of photographs of the transit of the planet Venus across the Sun on the 9th of December 1874. They were purportedly taken in Japan by the French astronomer using Janssen's photographic revolver. Technically, what Janssen captured was a series of photographs and not a motion picture on a single strip of film, which will come later, but before that came another series of pictures. 4 years later, the second film was released, this film in question entitled Horse in Motion by Edward Muybridge. This short 2-second clip shows a racehorse and its rider in motion. In the early 1800s, humans had invented still photography, but no one had ever put them together creating motion picture. The photographer Edward Muybridge wanted to examine whether a horse lifted all of its legs while running or not, so he set up 24 cameras linked to tripwires along the length of a raceway. When the horse ran along the raceway, it triggered the trapwires and set off the cameras one by one in succession, creating the pictures you see in this clip. He projected the images onto a screen using his invention, the zoopraxiscope, which used a hand-cranked spinning disc to display the pictures. This machine is considered to be the predecessor of the modern movie projector, and The Horse in Motion became the first film ever made. And to answer the question, yeah, they definitely lift all their legs. The world's first moving image came in 1887, thereby making this guy the world's first movie star. Said movie presents a man walking around a corner and is creatively titled Man Walking Around a Corner. Filmed in Leeds, Yorkshire, Great Britain by Louis the Prince. Despite this, however, what's widely considered to be the first film, more so than this one, is his next release a year later. Roundhay Garden Scene, which is the one that most film fans have probably heard of, and also the one in the Guinness Book of World Records. Like that means anything, but whatever. It's difficult to pinpoint exactly why one is regarded as more legitimate than the other, though the distinction could very well be something to do with the apparatus, as Man Walking Around the Corner was filmed on a glass plate, of which you can see the broken corner in the first few frames, rather than a genuine celluloid film. Roundhay Garden Scene, however, was a celluloid film shot using the Le Prince single-lens camera made in 1888. It was taken in the garden of the Whitley family house in Oakwood Grange Road in Roundhay, which is a suburb of Leeds. Possibly on October the 14th, 1888. It shows Adolphe Le Prince's son, Miss Sarah Whitley, his mother-in-law, Joseph Whitley, and Miss Harriet Hartley, some of which are walking around in circles, many are laughing to themselves, but they're all keeping within the area framed by the camera. This is the earliest film that we have access to, but it is possible that others do exist. And with this access has come multitudes of upscaling and improvements in quality, transforming the seemingly lifeless footage into something incredibly surreal. Something about watching the people from centuries ago suddenly become alive is pretty uncanny. These people died before the birth of this generation's grandparents, and none of them ever could have anticipated that we'd be watching them fuck around in Leeds in 2022, 134 years later. But it turns out that the backstory of the Roundhay Garden Scene is actually more creepy and mysterious than you might originally perceive it to be. Sarah Whitley died just 10 days after the recording was made, and the brilliant French inventor Louis Le Prince himself vanished mysteriously 2 years later while riding the train. To top it all off, his son even committed suicide soon after. There are several theories about what happened to Louis Le Prince. Some suspect it was suicide because of financial difficulties, despite the lack of proof that this was the case. There's also a theory that it was a murder ordered by Edison, who wanted to get rid of competition. The similarly French Lumiere brothers did create a motion picture system, and this is where we see The Arrival of a Train, a film that supposedly led to panicked audiences who cowered at the sight of a train pursuing the camera. And whilst there is no genuine proof of this terror, it seems to be widely accepted that the film has visibly affected audiences at the very least. These short videos continued improving in quality incrementally until Boxing Day of 1906, where the first feature-length film was released in Australia titled The Story of the Kelly Gang, which saw controversy for presenting the gang in a sympathetic manner. So that's a brief rundown of the first films that acted as seedlings for the incredible industry that we have today. And looking back, it really is unbelievable. Which of these can be considered the world's first movie is subjective in my opinion. I mean, some would go as far as to say that 1941 Citizen Kane is the world's first true movie, so make of that what you will. But for now we're done here. Thanks for watching.